Before we dive into today's topic, I want to tell you about something that's changed how I approach pigeon health and performance. I run another channel called Pigeon Healthy where I share natural herbal treatment methods that most fanciers have never heard of. We're talking about plants and natural remedies that have powerful healing and performance-enhancing effects on pigeons. Things like specific herb combinations that boost immunity, natural treatments for respiratory diseases, plants that improve digestion and recovery after races, and natural alternatives to chemical medications. We cover pigeon diseases you might be struggling with right now: canker, respiratory infections, coccidiosis, worms, and show you exactly how to treat them using natural methods that actually work. No guessing. No expensive medications with side effects. Just proven herbal protocols used by top European lofts. If you're serious about keeping your birds healthy naturally and improving their performance without chemicals, go subscribe to Pigeon Healthy right now. The knowledge there could save you birds, save you money, and give you an edge your competition doesn't have. Now, let's get into today's topic. February, club meeting. Everyone's excited because spring racing season is starting in 6 weeks. Time to prepare birds. Time to plan training. And for several members, time to show off their new expensive purchases. Mike stands up. He just got back from Belgium. Bought 4 birds from a national champion loft. €2,000 per bird. €8,000 total. He's showing photos on his phone. Beautiful birds. Perfect feathering. Championship bloodlines going back 5 generations. Everyone's impressed. Mike is confident these birds will dominate our club this season. Sarah went to the Netherlands. 3 birds from a famous long-distance loft. €1,500 each. 4,500 total. She's been saving for 2 years for these genetics. Her plan is to breed from them and create a dynasty. But she'll race them this year too, just to prove their quality. Everyone congratulates her on the investment. Tom bought local but expensive. A top regional champion sold him 6 young birds. €1,000 each. 6,000 total. The seller guaranteed these birds have winning potential. Tom is already planning which races to enter, confident he'll recoup the investment through prize money. Then everyone looks at me. What did you buy? Any new birds for the season? I hesitate. I don't want to say it because I know what reaction I'll get. But someone asked directly. Come on, you must have got something. What did you invest in? I take a breath and tell the truth. I bought 1 bird. From a rescue. Mixed genetics. No pedigree. €20. The room goes silent for 3 seconds. Then someone laughs. Then everyone laughs. Not mean laughter exactly, but definitely not respectful either. €20? For a racing pigeon? That's not even a bird. That's a donation to animal rescue with a pigeon as a thank you gift. You can't race that. You don't even know what bloodlines it has. It could be anything. Probably a lost bird from someone's kid's school project. This isn't serious racing. This is a hobby bird. Mike, the guy who spent $8,000 on Belgian champions, pats me on the shoulder. Listen, I respect working with a budget. But if you're serious about racing, you need to invest in genetics. You can't compete with rescue birds. It's like entering a bicycle in a car race. Genetically, you're already so far behind that no amount of training will close the gap. My birds have 50 years of selective breeding. Your bird has whatever random genes it inherited from unknown parents. There's no comparison. I don't argue. There's no point. They are convinced that genetics is 90% of racing success. That expensive birds from champion lofts are the only way to win. That my €20 rescue bird is a waste of time. So I just nod and say, we'll see how the season goes. They smile condescendingly and move on to discussing their training plans. Here's what they didn't know. While they were spending thousands on birds, I was spending hundreds of hours studying training methodology. I read every scientific paper I could find on pigeon navigation, physiology, conditioning. I studied GPS tracking data from racing federations. I interviewed old Belgian fanciers about their actual methods, not the marketing stories they tell when selling birds, but the real data protocols they use. I created training spreadsheets. I mapped out compass training routes. I designed a complete systematic program covering every aspect of conditioning from week 1 to race day. And I was about to prove that systematic training beats random genetics every single time. 6 months. That's all I needed. 6 months to show that the €20 rescue bird with perfect training would destroy the €2,000 champion birds with mediocre training. Let me tell you exactly how I did it. Week 1 after that club meeting, I bring my rescue bird home. His name is Rocky because it's an underdog story and I'm not creative with names. Rocky is 6 months old. Been living at a rescue for 2 months after being found exhausted on someone's roof 50 kilometers from any known loft. No ring. No way to identify owner. Just a lost bird that ended up in rescue. He's healthy now, eating well, flying around a rescue loft with other birds. Nothing special about him physically. Medium size, normal coloring, completely average in every way. I start with loft training. Rocky needs to learn this is home now. 2 weeks of loft flying only. No training tosses yet. Just building attachment to the loft, learning the trap, establishing the place as a safe base. During these 2 weeks, I'm also conditioning him physically. Not racing yet, just building basic fitness through voluntary loft flying. He flies 30 to 40 minutes per day. Good sign. He's naturally active. I'm also establishing baseline metrics. I weigh him, 360 grams. I measure his wing length. I photograph his eye color in good light so I have reference for what healthy normal looks like for him. I time how long it takes him to enter the trap after landing. First few days it's 20 to 30 seconds. By end of week 2 it's 5 to 7 seconds. Good improvement. Trap discipline is trainable and is learning. Meanwhile, at club meetings, I'm hearing about how the expensive birds are doing. Mike's Belgian champions are beautiful, but 2 of them are already sick. Respiratory problems. He's giving antibiotics. Sarah's Dutch birds are settling in well, but one escaped during loft flying and didn't return for 6 hours. She was terrified it was lost, but it eventually came back. Tom's regional champions are great, but is feeding them expensive supplement program that costs €50 per week. He's convinced supplements are necessary for peak performance. Week 3, I start Rocky's compass training. 21-day systematic directional protocol. Our race line is predominantly south. Everything comes from generally southern direction. So I train south exclusively for first 3 weeks. Day 1, 1 kilometer south. Perfect weather. 7 a.m. release. Rocky returns in 12 minutes. Enters trap in 8 seconds. Not great, but acceptable for first toss. Day 3, 1.5 kilometers south. Returns in 15 minutes. Trap entry 6 seconds. Improving. Day 5, 2 kilometers. Returns in 18 minutes. Trap entry 5 seconds. His learning. I'm recording everything. Distance, weather conditions, wind direction, return time, trap entry time, recovery behavior. I have a spreadsheet with 20 different data points per training toss. I can see patterns. Rocky flies faster in morning than afternoon. He prefers calm conditions over wind, but handles light wind fine. His trap discipline improves when I let him see other birds entering before him. Social facilitation effect. All of this data informs how I train him going forward. By end of week 5, Rocky has completed 15 tosses from south, ranging from 1 kilometer to 10 kilometers. His return times are consistent. His trap discipline is excellent, 3 to 5 seconds every time. He knows south intimately. This is his direction. When I release him south of the loft, he orients within seconds and flies direct routes home. No circling, no confusion, just immediate recognition of where he is and where home is. Week 6 I had perpendicular training. Multi-point protocol, 8 to 15-5 ratio. 80% of tosses from south, 15% from east and west, 5% from north. Rocky handles a variety well. First east toss at 3 kilometers takes him slightly longer than equivalent south toss, which is expected. His learning new direction, but by third east toss is navigating confidently. During this same period I'm hearing club updates about the expensive birds. Mike lost one of his Belgian champions. It came back from training toss and died overnight. He doesn't know why. Suspect it picked up disease during shipping from Belgium. Now is down to 3 birds from his original 4. 6,000 euros of bird remaining from 8,000 euro investment. Sarah's birds are training well but inconsistently. She has busy work schedule and sometimes misses training weeks. Then she tries to make up for it by training extra hard the following week. Her birds are confused by the irregular schedule. Tom's birds are being fed so many supplements that they are actually getting fat. Expensive high-protein supplements, amino acid powders, vitamin injections, everything the supplement companies sell. His birds look amazing. Shiny feathers, bright eyes, perfect condition. But when he tosses them from 10 kilometers, they are slow. The excess weight from oversupplementation is hurting performance. He doesn't see it yet because it's fixated on how good they look rather than how fast they fly. Week 8, Rocky is training to 20 kilometers south. Return times are excellent. At 20 kilometers on a calm day, he returns in 38 minutes. That's faster than most birds in our club achieve at this distance. His conditioning is building nicely. I'm not feeding supplements. Just quality grain mix, peas and wheat and barley and small amount of hemp seed. Total feed cost is €2 per week, plus normal grit and fresh water change daily. That's it. No magic powders. No injections. Just good food and systematic training. I'm also monitoring health obsessively. Every morning I check Rocky's droppings. Firm and well-formed means digestive health is good. I check his eyes. Bright and clear means no infection. I check his breathing. Quiet and effortless means respiratory health is good. I handle him twice a week to check body condition. Firm muscle over keel, slight fat reserve, indicates perfect racing weight. At first sign of any problem, I would address it immediately, but there are no problems. The bird is thriving. Week 10 I had landmark training. Our south race line passes over a river at approximately 8 kilometers from the loft. I deliberately train routes that cross this river from various distances and angles. Rocky learns to use a river as navigation waypoint. When he sees a river, he knows it's 8 kilometers out and he adjusts his heading slightly to account for wind drift. This landmark recognition improves his navigation accuracy substantially. Week 12. First real test. Club does a training toss for all birds. 50 kilometers south. Everyone participates. This is the first time my €20 rescue bird will compete directly against the €2,000 Belgian champions and the €1,500 Dutch birds and the €1,000 regional champions. Everyone is curious to see how badly Rocky will lose. They are polite about it, but the assumption is clear. Is going to be slow, probably last or close to last. Genetics matter and he just doesn't have the genetics. Race day for this training toss. All birds are basketed together. We drive to release point 50 kilometers south. Weather is good. Light wind. Clear skies. Perfect conditions. We release at 9 a.m. Now it's just waiting to see who arrives first. I'm nervous. 6 weeks of systematic training are about to be tested against expensive genetics with decent but unsystematic training. The first call comes through the radio at 9:43 a.m. Someone's bird trapped. 43 minutes for 50 kilometers. Excellent time. More calls over next 5 minutes. Multiple birds arriving. I'm watching my clock closely. At 9:46 my clock beeps. Rocky just trapped. I immediately radio the time. 4 to 6 minutes. That puts him in approximately 5th or 6th position based on the times being called in. Not first, but definitely not last. Better than expected. Final results coming over the next hour. Rocky placed 6th out of 28 birds. 4 to 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Solid performance. Mike's Belgian champions, 10th, 15th, and 20th. Average performance at best. Sarah's Dutch birds, 14th, 22nd, and didn't return until next morning. Tom's supplement-fed regional champions, 8th, 18th, 23rd, 25th, 27th, and 30th. Mostly mediocre to poor. People are surprised. Not shocked yet, because this is just one training toss and 50 kilometers isn't that challenging. But they are definitely surprised that the rescue bird beat most of the expensive birds. Mike suggests Rocky probably got lucky with good wind. Sarah says a bird that didn't return overnight must have landed somewhere to rest. Nothing to do with training. Tom doesn't comment on results, just talks about how good his birds look. I don't say anything either. I just collect my data. Rocky's actual flight time was good. His trap entry was perfect, 3 seconds. His recovery was excellent, drinking and eating within 30 minutes. The systematic training is working. But this was just first test. Real proof comes during actual racing season. 2 more months pass. I continue Rocky's training. Progressive distance increases on the south line. Now training to 30, 40, 50 kilometers regularly. Adding longer tosses to 60, 70, 80 kilometers occasionally. Maintaining the 8 to 15-5 directional ratio. Adding weather training. 1 toss in light rain to teach him navigation doesn't require perfect conditions. Maintaining health obsessively. Recording everything in my spreadsheets. The expensive birds continue their inconsistent training. Mike is frustrated with his remaining Belgian champions. They are not performing as well as he expected. He is wondering if the seller lied about their genetics. Sarah has settled into a pattern of training every 2 weeks instead of weekly because of her work schedule. Her birds are fit but not as sharp as they could be with more consistent training. Tom is still feeding massive supplement doses, and his birds are still slightly overweight but looking beautiful. Finally, first race of the season. 300 kilometers. Serious distance. Real test. This is where genetics supposedly matters most. Long-distance racing is where champion bloodlines prove their worth. Where 50 years of selective breeding shows results. Where a €20 rescue bird should get destroyed by €2,000 champions. Everyone is confident this is where reality asserts itself and natural order is restored. Race day. Liberation is at 6 a.m. from 300 kilometers due south. Weather forecast is good, light headwind but nothing dramatic. All birds are basketed Friday night. I'm careful with Rocky's preparation. Followed the 7-day conditioning protocol exactly. Light feeding the final days. Electrolyte water days 5 through 3 before race. Then plain water days 2 and 1. The morning of basketing he feels perfect. Lean, fit, alert, eager. I basket him calmly and wish him luck. 6 a.m. Saturday. Birds are liberated. Now it's just waiting. 300 kilometers in roughly 4 to 5 hours if conditions are good and birds fly well. I'm at my loft by 9 a.m. just in case, though I don't expect arrivals before 10 or 10:30. I have recovery water prepared and ready. Recovery feed mixed. Everything set up for perfect post-race protocol. 10:15 a.m. I see a bird approaching from the south. Can't identify it yet, but it's moving fast and direct. Definitely knows where it's going. The bird descends, circles once, lands on my landing board. It's Rocky. I'm stunned. I wasn't expecting him for another 15 to 30 minutes at least. He sits on the board for 4 seconds, enters a trap. I clock him. 10:16 a.m. 4 hours, 16 minutes for 300 kilometers. That's fast. Really fast. I provide recovery water and feed as planned. Rocky drinks immediately, drinks for about 30 seconds, then moves to the recovery feed and eats small amount. Then he goes to a perch and rests. Perfect recovery behavior. He's tired but not distressed. The training prepared him well. Over the next hour, I'm listening to radio calls from other lofts. Times are being reported. 10:23, 10:31, 10:45, 11:02, 11:15. I'm doing quick math in my head. Rocky's time is faster than most of what I'm hearing. Could he actually have won? That seems impossible. The expensive bird should have beaten him. They have the genetics. Final results are posted that evening. Official times accounting for distance variations based on loft locations. First place overall in the 300-kilometer race, Rocky. My €20 rescue bird beat every expensive champion in the club. Beat Mike's Belgian champions by 20 minutes. Beat Sarah's Dutch birds by 35 minutes. Beat Tom's regional champions by margins ranging from 15 to 50 minutes. Absolutely destroyed them. The club meeting the following week is awkward. Nobody knows what to say. Mike is convinced something went wrong with the race. Maybe his birds got confused by wind or saw a hawk and deviated. Sarah thinks maybe her bird stopped to rest somewhere. Tom is silent. They are all trying to find explanations that preserve their belief that genetics matters most. The idea that systematic training beat expensive genetics is too uncomfortable to accept. I finally speak up. I tell them what I did. The 21-day compass training. The multi-point protocol with 8 to 15:5 ratio. The landmark training along the river. The systematic progressive distance increases. The health monitoring. The precise 7-day pre-race conditioning. The exact post-race recovery protocol. Every single element of the training system I followed for 6 months while they were doing random tosses whenever convenient and hoping expensive genetics would compensate. I show them my training spreadsheets. 300 data points. Every toss recorded. Every metric tracked. Patterns identified. Adjustments made based on data. Nothing left to chance. Nothing done randomly. Complete systematic approach from day one to race day. This is what beat their expensive birds. Not luck. Not better genes. Method. System. Obsessive execution. Mike looks at the spreadsheet and asks how much time this took. I tell him honestly, 2 hours per day minimum. Some days 4 hours. Planning routes. Executing tosses. Recording data. Monitoring health. Preparing feeds. Total time investment over 6 months was approximately 700 hours. He shakes his head. That's insane. Nobody has that kind of time. Working people can't invest 700 hours in pigeons over 6 months. I point out he invested €8,000 in birds. I invested €20 in bird plus 700 hours of time. If his hourly wage is €20, his opportunity cost was also about €14,000 of work time he could have been owning instead of being at work. Different resource allocation. Same total investment. He chose to invest money in genetics. I chose to invest time in training. My investment won. Sarah asked the crucial question. Does this mean genetics don't matter at all? Can any bird become a champion with good training? I explained the nuance. Genetics set the ceiling. A bird with poor genetics perfectly trained will reach maybe 70 or 80% of performance. A bird with excellent genetics perfectly trained will reach 95 to 100%. But genetics only matter when training is equal. A poor genetics bird with perfect training beats an excellent genetics bird with mediocre training every time. Rocky probably has average genetics. Not terrible, not amazing, just average. With perfect training, his reaching maybe 75% of his genetic ceiling. Mike's Belgian champions probably have excellent genetics. Top 5%. But with inconsistent random training, they're reaching maybe 40% of their genetic ceiling. 75% of average beats 40% of excellent. That's the math. Tom asked what I would have achieved with a €2,000 bird in the same training system. Honestly, probably won by a larger margin. Genetics and training multiply each other. Excellent genetics times excellent training equals dominant performance. But the lesson of this season is you can't buy performance. Performance is built through systematic work. The expensive birds were a shortcut attempt. By genetics, skip training, win anyway. Doesn't work. Has never worked. Will never work. Let me break down exactly what made the difference in training protocols. Mike's training was random direction tosses whenever he had time. Some weeks south, some weeks east. Sometimes he'd skip 2 weeks, then train twice in 3 days. No compass foundation. No directional emphasis. No progressive systematic distance increases. Just random tosses, hoping the birds would figure it out through experience. This doesn't build mental maps. It builds confusion. Sarah's training was inconsistent schedule. Train hard 1 week, skip 2 weeks, train hard again. Birds never develop conditioning because fitness requires consistent stimulus. You can't train once every 2 weeks and expect race conditioning. Humans don't get marathon-ready running twice a month. Pigeons don't get race-ready training every 2 weeks. Consistency matters more than intensity. Tom's training was probably most consistent of the three, but he made different mistakes. Overfeeding supplements created excess weight. His birds looked beautiful, but carried 10 to 15 grams of extra weight compared to optimal racing condition. 15 grams might not sound like much, but it's 5% of body weight. Flying 300 kilometers with 5% extra weight is like human running marathon carrying a 5-kilogram backpack. Performance suffers significantly. Additionally, none of them followed proper pre-race conditioning protocols. They fed normal amounts up until day before race. They didn't adjust feed composition. They didn't restrict appropriately. Their birds arrived at basketing with full crops instead of light, clean digestive systems. This impairs performance from the start. Then post-race, they didn't follow proper recovery protocols. They gave water and feed randomly without systematic approach. Some birds recovered well despite this. Others didn't. It was luck, not method. Meanwhile, my protocols were systematic at every phase. Training followed 21-day compass, then multi-point ratio, then landmark enhancement, then distance progression, all scheduled and executed precisely. Feeding was appropriate for each phase, winter mix during rest, racing mix during season, recovery feed after hard efforts. Pre-race conditioning was textbook 7-day protocol, bringing Rocky to peak exactly on race day. post-race recovery with precise minute-by-minute electrolyte and feed protocol ensuring complete recovery. Health management was obsessive. I checked droppings every morning. At first sign of irregularity, I would investigate and address. I monitored eyes daily. Any dullness or discharge would trigger immediate action. I weighed Rocky weekly to track condition. Any unexpected weight loss or gain got investigated. I prevented problems before they became serious. The expensive bird got sick and then got treated. Rocky never got sick because problems were caught and addressed at earliest signs. This is the difference between systematic and random management. Systematic means every decision is planned in advance based on principles and data. Random means every decision is made in the moment based on intuition and hope. Systematic creates consistent results. Random creates variable results. Over a season, systematic wins every time. Let me give you the exact protocols I use so you can replicate this result with your own bird regardless of genetics. Training protocol. Weeks 1 to 3. Compass training establishing primary direction. 4 to 8 tosses from race direction only, progressively increasing from 1 to 10 kilometers. No other directions during this foundation phase. Weeks 4 to 8, multipoint training adding perpendicular and opposite directions in 8 to 15-5 ratio. South gets 80% of tosses. East and West get 15% combined. North gets 5%. Progressive distance increases on all lines, but south always furthest. Weeks 9 to 12, landmark and distance extension. Adding landmark recognition training along race routes. Extending south distance to 30, 40, 50 kilometers. Maintaining directional ratio. Adding one weather training toss in light rain or wind. Testing bird adaptability. Weeks 13 to 16, race preparation. Tapering volume slightly, maintaining sharpness. Executing perfect 7-day pre-race protocol before first race. After race, executing perfect recovery protocol. Between races, maintenance training to preserve conditioning without overtraining. Feeding protocol, normal season. Racing mix with 30% peas, 25% wheat, 20% barley, 10% dairy, 10% corn, 5% safflower, 5% hemp. Moderate quantity, approximately 30 grams per bird per day adjusted based on condition. Pre-race 7-day protocol, progressive feed restriction and composition adjustment. Days 7 to 3, reduce quantity by 20% and decrease oil content. Days 3 to 1, very light mix of wheat and peas only, 10 to 15 grams per bird. Evening before race, wheat only, 10 grams maximum. Morning of race, no feeding. Post-race protocol, immediate plain water for 30 to 60 minutes. Then electrolyte water, correctly mix 1.5 grams salt per liter for 2 to 3 hours. Then plain water. Recovery feed, peas and wheat only, 15 grams immediately after race. Return to normal feed after 4 to 6 hours. Health monitoring, daily visual check of droppings, eyes, breathing, behavior. Weekly handling to check weight and muscle condition. Immediate investigation and action at first sign of any abnormality. Prevention always, treatment only when prevention fails. Cost breakdown for full season. Rocky the bird, €20. Feed for 6 months, approximately €50 total. Grit and minerals, €5. Gasoline for training tosses, approximately €60 driving to various release points. Miscellaneous supplies, €10. Total investment, €104 to €5. Compared to Mike's €8,000 on birds, Tom's €50 per week on supplements, which is €1,300 for 6 months. Sarah's €4,500 on birds. My total cost for the season was about €150. Their costs range from 5 to 15,000 euros. My result was first place. Their results were mediocre to poor. Return on investment is incomparable. I won prize money of €200 for first place. Net profit €55. Not much but positive. They won nothing, lost thousands. But more importantly, I proved systematic training beats expensive genetics. This knowledge is worth more than any prize money. This proves that anyone with time and dedication can compete at highest level regardless of budget. You don't need expensive birds. You need systematic method and obsessive execution. Now people will object. They'll say I got lucky. Rocky happened to have decent genetics despite being rescue bird. Maybe he was actually from good bloodline and just got lost. Maybe I accidentally bought a champion for €20. This is possible but irrelevant. Even if Rocky has hidden championship genetics, the expensive birds also have known championship genetics and they lost. So genetics clearly weren't the deciding factor. Method was a deciding factor. They'll say this is unrealistic time commitment. 700 hours over 6 months. Most people can't do this. True, most people can't or won't invest this much time. But that's exactly the point. Success isn't about genetics or money. Success is about work. If you're not willing to do the work, you won't get results regardless of how expensive your birds are. If you are willing to do the work, you'll get results even with cheap birds. They'll say one race isn't proof. Rocky might not repeat this performance. Also true, but the training system is replicable. I can apply the same protocols next season and get similar results. The expensive bird owners can't say the same because they don't have systematic protocols. They have hope and expensive genetics. Hope isn't replicable. Genetics don't improve through experience. Method improves through refinement and experience. The lesson from this season is simple. Training beats genetics when genetics aren't paired with equivalent training. Expensive birds are only worth the investment if you're going to train them systematically. If you're going to train randomly, save your money and buy cheap birds. They'll perform the same as expensive birds under random training, which is mediocre. If you're going to invest in systematic training, even cheap birds will perform well. If you invest in both systematic training and expensive genetics, you'll dominate. But training alone beats genetics alone every single time. Next season, I'm getting a second bird. Probably another rescue. Maybe I'll pay €30 this time. I'm going to train it the exact same way I trained Rocky. I predict it will also perform well because the method works regardless of genetics. Meanwhile, my club mates will probably buy more expensive birds hoping that will solve their training deficiency. It won't. You can't by training. You have to build it through systematic work. If this video showed you that method beats money and training beats genetics, hit the like button. Subscribe for more systematic training protocols that work with any birds regardless of price or bloodlines. Comment method if you're ready to outwork and outtrain expensive birds. And check Pigeon Healthy channel for complete health protocols because even perfect training fails if birds are sick. Healthy birds trained systematically beat expensive sick birds trained randomly. That's a formula. Execute it and win regardless of budget. See you in the next video.